In the arena of life, we often find ourselves ensnared in a web of expectations and obligations that are not of our own making. Every challenge you confront, every moment of frustration, fear, and regret can be traced back to a single, harsh reality. You are living for everyone else but yourself. You've relinquished control of your life, settling for mere crumbs of approval from others, when you deserve a feast of fulfillment. Steve Jobs once delivered a powerful warning: your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Tragically, many of us hesitate and doubt ourselves daily, allowing the opinions and judgments of others to dictate our choices and stifle our potential. When was the last time you made a decision without pausing to consider who might criticize or judge you? Can you recall the last instance when you lived fully and fearlessly, prioritizing your own desires and aspirations above all else? In this video, we won't sugarcoat the truth or shy away from the harsh realities of life. Instead, we're here to tear away the masks of societal expectations and help you reclaim your life. The message we want to leave you with today is this: you owe the world nothing. You owe yourself everything. Your journey, your dreams, and your happiness are yours alone to pursue. Stay engaged, because the bonus lesson at the end could be the wake-up call you've been desperately needing. It's time to break free from the chains of other people's expectations and start living a life that is truly yours. Number 1, why living for others will always fail you. In the grand tapestry of existence, there's a silent struggle that plagues countless souls, a struggle born from a life lived in the shadow of others' expectations. Imagine a tree that bends with every passing wind, its branches swaying at the slightest gust. Such a tree can never grow strong roots. And yet, how often do you find yourself in a similar position, swaying with the invisible hands of others' expectations? The greatest suffering is forgetting who you are, a wisdom echoed across ages and cultures. You weren't born to be a reflection of someone else's hopes or fears. You were born to be you. But somewhere along the way, perhaps without noticing, you began to live for applause you didn't ask for and chase approval you never needed. Buddhist philosophy, a beacon of wisdom for millennia, reminds us that clinging to the fleeting is the root of suffering. Living for others is exactly that, a desperate clinging to shifting sands. Their moods, their judgments, their praises, they change with the seasons like the tides of an unpredictable ocean. And so, if you live for them, your happiness becomes as fragile as glass, waiting to be shattered. You feel a temporary high when praised and sink into a deep valley when criticized. Ask yourself, are you letting external winds control your inner weather? In today's world, it's almost a silent epidemic. Social media platforms reward external validation with likes, comments, and shares, turning our lives into performative stages. Society pressures you to meet milestones you may not even want: a high-paying job, a perfect relationship, a dream home. Family, friends, colleagues, they build a life blueprint for you, often without considering whether it aligns with your deepest desires. But do they walk in your shoes? When you live based on others' opinions, you become a stranger to your own heart. You start second-guessing your dreams, your feelings, even your worth. And slowly, without even realizing it, you drift farther from yourself. But there's a different way, a freer way. Imagine standing like a tree, rooted deep in rich, unmoving soil. No matter how harsh the storm or how strong the winds, you remain steady because your roots hold you. Your roots are your self-knowledge, your clarity, your truth. Buddhism teaches mindfulness, becoming aware of what you feel, need, and believe without the noise of outside opinions. Mindfulness is your anchor to yourself, reminding you that nothing outside you can ever complete you or define you. To live for yourself means to trust your own inner voice more than the shouting crowds around you. It means to pause and ask, what would life feel like if I trusted my own roots more than others' approval? It means learning to sit with your own emotions without needing anyone else to validate them. It means making decisions aligned with your values, even when misunderstood. Start small. Each morning, ask yourself, what do I truly want today, not for anyone else, but for me? Practice saying no when your heart feels heavy with a yes you don't mean. Reflect each evening. Did I honor my own truth today? Over time, these tiny acts build the strongest roots imaginable. The Buddha said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." When you no longer hinge your peace on what others think, you unlock a life of calm resilience. You don't need to bend with every opinion. You don't need to please everyone to be worthy. You are already enough, exactly as you are. The answer to your freedom isn't out there. It's right where you stand. So stand firm, stand true. Build a strong, disciplined mind rooted in calm and positive thoughts, and watch how life bends for you, not the other way around. Remember, your journey is yours alone. You owe the world nothing. You owe yourself everything. Number 2, when pleasing others becomes self-betrayal. You cannot drink poisoned water to satisfy another's thirst. Yet every day, without realizing it, you might be sipping little doses of that poison, saying yes when your soul screams no, smiling when your heart feels heavy, nodding along to dreams that aren't yours. Seeking approval is abandoning your soul. The old wisdom reminds us that each time you mold yourself just to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be, you are quietly betraying the sacred truth of who you already are. It's a subtle erosion of your true self, a slow and silent compromise that can lead to profound inner conflict and dissatisfaction. Buddhism teaches that clinging to praise, to acceptance, to an identity shaped by others is the path to suffering. When you live to please, you live as a guest in your own life. You wear masks stitched together by expectations, losing sight of the face underneath. These masks may be comfortable at first, offering a sense of belonging and acceptance, but over time they become heavy, constricting, and ultimately suffocating. You trade authenticity for temporary acceptance, not realizing the cost is your inner peace. The more you cater to others' desires, the more you distance yourself from your own. Ask yourself, where in your life are you drinking poison just to be liked? Is it in the workplace where you constantly agree with your colleagues and superiors to avoid conflict, even when you disagree? Is it in your personal relationships where you suppress your true feelings to maintain harmony? Or perhaps it's in your social life, where you engage in activities that don't resonate with you but are expected of you. Today's world doesn't make it easy. From childhood, you're taught that love must be earned by being good, being agreeable, being exactly who others need you to be. This conditioning is deeply ingrained, and it follows us into adulthood. At work, at home, even among friends, there's pressure to please, to shrink, to hide parts of yourself, to avoid conflict or rejection. Slowly, invisibly, this becomes normal. You smile through discomfort. You silence your dreams. You make yourself smaller so others can feel bigger. But at what cost? The cost is your authenticity, your self-respect, and your mental and emotional well-being. When you constantly prioritize others' needs and desires over your own, you create a void within yourself that can never be filled by external validation. You may gain the approval of others, but you lose a vital connection to your true self. You may achieve a sense of belonging, but it's a belonging that comes at the expense of your own identity and integrity. It's time to break free from this pattern of self-betrayal. It's time to recognize that your worth is not determined by others' opinions of you. You are inherently valuable, just as you are. You don't need to change yourself to fit into someone else's mold. You don't need to drink poisoned water to satisfy another's thirst. You can choose to honor your own needs, desires, and boundaries, even when it's difficult. You can choose to live a life that is true to yourself, rather than one that is shaped by the expectations of others. So take a moment to reflect. Identify the areas of your life where you are drinking poison just to be liked. Recognize the masks you wear and the ways in which you betray your true self. And then make a conscious decision to start living authentically. Start small by speaking your truth in a situation where you've previously held back. By saying no when you want to say no, and yes when you truly mean yes. By pursuing your own dreams and passions rather than those that are imposed on you by others. Remember, your life is yours to live. Don't let it be defined by the expectations and desires of others. Stand firm in your authenticity and reclaim your power. You are enough, exactly as you are. Imagine standing by a clear mountain spring, pure, vibrant, alive. That's your true self. Every time you abandon your needs for someone else's approval, you muddy those waters. Eventually, you can no longer see your reflection. You lose touch with what you want, what you value, what you love. Buddhism invites us back to clarity. Mindfulness teaches, honor your experience without judgment, without the need for permission. When you live mindfully, you start to hear the subtle voice of your own heart, steady, patient, wise. Pleasing others may feel noble in the moment, but true compassion begins within. When you abandon yourself, you cannot authentically love or serve anyone else. How could you when your own cup is empty? Reflect deeply. Who could you become if you honored your own needs first? What dreams might you finally chase? What peace might you finally feel? Start reclaiming yourself with small steps. When someone asks for your time, check inward. Do I want to give this, or am I afraid to say no? When faced with a choice, pause and ask, what feels true to me? Begin setting boundaries, not to push others away, but to protect the sacredness of your spirit. Like a garden, your soul needs nurturing, not constant depletion. The Buddha said, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. You are not here to live as an echo of others' desires. You are here to shine in your own light. Remember this, you were never meant to set yourself on fire just to keep others warm. Build a strong, disciplined mind rooted in calm and positive thoughts, and you will finally find the freedom you've been thirsting for. 3. Allow others to dislike you. The sun does not apologize for shining too brightly. It simply rises, casting its light over all, knowing some will bask in it while others seek shelter. And so it is with you. Freedom is accepting that not everyone will walk your path. Yet how often do you dim your light, soften your voice, or twist yourself into something smaller just to be liked? Trying to be universally accepted is a quiet prison, one with invisible bars made of fear and self-doubt. Ask yourself, why do you fear being disliked more than losing yourself? Buddhist wisdom teaches that attachment to reputation, to being seen a certain way, is a subtle but powerful form of suffering. When you live to avoid judgment, you abandon your own sacred journey. You wear masks that do not belong to you. You walk paths that do not lead you home. And slowly, quietly, you lose your way, sacrificing authenticity for temporary approval that never truly satisfies. In today's world, being disliked feels dangerous. Social media, workplaces, even friendships sometimes demand constant performance. Be agreeable, be lovable, be whatever others need you to be. But Buddhism reminds us life is not about fitting into every hand that tries to hold you. Life is about becoming so rooted in your truth that even when the winds of criticism blow, you stand tall and unmoved. Imagine if the sun hesitated each morning, wondering if its light would offend someone. Imagine if it stayed hidden behind clouds just to avoid disapproval. The world would be darker. And your world becomes darker too each time you hide your truth to avoid being misunderstood. What strength could awaken if you stopped explaining yourself? What dreams could finally take flight if you no longer needed everyone's blessing to chase them? You do not owe anyone your smallness. The ones meant to walk with you will stay. The ones who misunderstand your light were never meant to be your sun. Allowing others to dislike you is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of self-respect. It is honoring the journey you were born to take, whether it is celebrated or criticized. Begin practicing freedom today. The next time you feel the urge to defend your choices, pause, breathe. Remember, you are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to understand yourself. When someone disapproves of you, let it be. Their judgment is their burden, not yours. Set down the heavy armor of explanation. Stand in the gentle power of silent self-trust. Buddha taught, do not look for sanctuary in anyone except yourself. Your freedom lies not in convincing others, but in becoming so deeply aligned with yourself that their approval becomes unnecessary. You are the sun. You do not need permission to rise. Remember this, those who are meant for your light will never ask you to dim it. Build a strong, disciplined mind, rooted in calm and positive thoughts, and watch how you finally step into the boundless freedom you were always meant to live. 4. When you stop needing validation. A mountain remains unmoved whether praised or cursed. It stands tall through storms and sunlight, untouched by the passing opinions of the world around it. You too have that power within you. Self-respect grows when external praise becomes irrelevant. But how often have you traded your inner peace for the brief flicker of someone else's approval? How many dreams have you delayed? How many truths have you swallowed just to be accepted by those who can never define your worth? Ask yourself, whose validation are you still chasing and why? Buddhist teachings whisper the truth. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid clinging to approval. It is clinging to suffering. When you tie your value to someone else's praise, you give away the key to your own happiness. You become a puppet pulled by invisible strings, elevated by a compliment, crushed by a criticism. But the wisdom of mindfulness shows us another way, the path where self-worth blooms from within, untouched by applause or silence. In the modern world, validation is sold like a drug. Followers, likes, promotions, compliments, small hits of approval that keep you addicted to the outer world, always needing more to feel enough. But Buddhism teaches that the deepest peace comes from within, not without. Imagine living one day where your worth wasn't measured by how many people noticed you, thanked you, or agreed with you. Imagine waking up knowing that who you are is already whole, already valuable, needing no confirmation. Think for a moment, what if today your approval was enough? What would you dare to do if no one's opinion could touch your spirit? What passions would you pursue? What boundaries would you finally set? When you anchor your worth in your own soul, you become unstoppable, not because you are loud, but because you are immovable. Praise does not inflate you. Criticism does not deflate you. You simply are, strong, steady, sure. Freedom begins when you stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to believe in yourself. It grows stronger every time you affirm your choices, your dreams, your path, even if no one else understands it. Start small. Before posting, performing, or presenting, pause and ask, am I doing this for my own joy, or am I fishing for approval? Before seeking advice, reflect, do I already know what is right for me? Mindfulness trains you to hear your own voice louder than the noise around you. The Buddha taught, no one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path. You were never meant to live shackled to applause. You were meant to walk freely, guided by your own inner light. You are already enough, not because someone said so, but because you exist. Remember this. You do not need 1,000 hands to applaud you to be worthy. Build a strong, disciplined mind, rooted in calm and positive thoughts, and let your spirit stand tall like a mountain, unshaken, undefeated, and finally free. 5. Why living for yourself isn't selfish. You must fill your own cup before pouring into another's. Yet how often are you running on empty, offering pieces of yourself you no longer have to give? We are taught that living for ourselves is selfish, that prioritizing our own needs is wrong. But the truth echoed in the depths of Buddhist wisdom is far different. Caring for yourself is the highest form of service to the world. When you are whole, you give freely, without resentment, without losing yourself in the process. When you are depleted, even your kindness becomes strained and unsustainable. Reflect deeply. Are you nourishing yourself as much as you nourish others? Buddhism teaches that true compassion must include the self. You are here to understand yourself. When someone disapproves of you, let it be. Their judgment is their burden, not yours. Set down the heavy armor of explanation. Stand in the gentle power of silent self-trust. Buddha taught, do not look for sanctuary in anyone except yourself. Your freedom lies not in convincing others, but in becoming so deeply aligned with yourself that their approval becomes unnecessary. You are the sun. You do not need permission to rise. Remember this, those who are meant for your light will never ask you to dim it. Without inner balance, there can be no true outer generosity. Imagine trying to light 1,000 lamps with a candle that's barely flickering. What you offer others will always mirror the state of your own heart. If you are empty, you pass on emptiness. If you are whole, you pass on light. Living for yourself is not about isolation or arrogance. It is about building a foundation so strong that your love and wisdom can flow effortlessly into the world without needing anything in return. In today's world, self-sacrifice is often praised as a virtue. You're told to be everything for everyone, to keep giving even when it hurts. But Buddhism invites you to see the deeper wisdom. The greatest service you can offer is to first become a sanctuary for yourself. Only then can you truly become a refuge for others. If you are exhausted, bitter, or hollow inside, what kind of service can you truly give? Filling your own cup is not selfish. It is necessary. It is sacred. Consider your own life. What becomes possible when you treat yourself as sacred? Maybe you finally pursue that dream you keep shelving for others. Maybe you say no without guilt. Maybe you protect your energy, your peace, your truth, not out of cruelty but out of profound respect for the life you have been gifted. When you honor your own needs, you model for others what self-love looks like. You give them permission to do the same. And in this way, you create a ripple of true compassion, one that starts within and spreads outward, touching lives not with obligation, but with genuine presence. Start today by making a promise to yourself, to listen inward before rushing outward, to offer yourself the patience you so easily offer others, to tend to your inner soil before trying to grow gardens in someone else's life. Buddhist mindfulness practices teach us to come home to ourselves first, to breathe, to observe, to heal. From this rooted place, true giving becomes natural, effortless, and free. The Buddha said, "You yourself deserve your love and affection. Your life is not a sacrifice. It is a celebration of existence itself. Remember this. You were not born to burn out for others. You were born to burn bright for yourself. And in doing so, light the way for others. Build a strong, disciplined mind rooted in calm and positive thoughts, and let your fullness be your greatest gift to the world." Number 6, when you focus on your own standards. In the realm of creativity and existence, there lies a profound truth that often goes unnoticed. An artist who paints solely for applause eventually forgets how to see beauty. Picture this. You pour your soul into creating a masterpiece, a work that truly represents your vision and passion. However, at the first sound of silence from the crowd, you abandon your own artistic integrity. This is the quiet tragedy of living by external standards, always creating, achieving, and existing for the gaze and validation of others. Buddhism imparts a profound lesson. True peace and fulfillment emerge when we shift our focus from external trends to inner standards. The journey toward peace begins the moment we measure our success, not by how others perceive us, but by how we feel about ourselves. Take a moment to reflect. Whose standards are you currently living by? In today's world, which is filled with constant noise and distraction, external expectations often drown out our own intuition. Social media platforms bombard us with images of perfect lives. Cultural milestones dictate what we should achieve by a certain age, and family pressures push a narrative of what a worthy life should look like. Yet, Buddhist philosophy serves as a gentle reminder that chasing the world's definition of success is akin to chasing the horizon. No matter how fast you run, you will never reach it, and in the process, you will exhaust your soul. Instead, we are invited to embrace a radical practice of mindfulness. This involves setting our own standards, honoring our unique journey, and releasing the need to impress others. It means creating not for the applause, but for the sheer joy and fulfillment that comes from expressing your authentic self. When you focus on your own standards, you liberate yourself from the shackles of external validation. You no longer live in fear of judgment or rejection. Instead, you find freedom in living according to your own values and aspirations. This shift in perspective allows you to cultivate a deeper sense of self-awareness and contentment. You begin to recognize that your worth is not defined by the number of likes, the prestige of your job, or the approval of others. Rather, it is defined by your own sense of purpose, growth, and fulfillment. So as you navigate through life, remember the wisdom of Buddhism. Live by your own standards and let go of the need to conform to the expectations of the world. In doing so, you will discover a profound sense of peace and authenticity that cannot be found in external validation. Imagine living a life measured not by likes, promotions, or approval, but by the quiet pride you feel when your head touches the pillow at night. Imagine choosing goals that align with your soul, not the trends of the hour. Think about it deeply. What would your life look like if your only competition was your previous self? You would stop rushing to catch up with someone else's timeline. You would begin walking your own path at your own pace, guided by an inner compass that cannot be bought, manipulated, or broken. This shift does not happen overnight. It is a conscious decision made moment by moment to ask yourself, not what will they think, but what feels true for me. Buddhism encourages this mindful checking in. It teaches that wisdom is not found in the noise, but in the quiet knowing of your own heart. When you live for your own standards, life becomes a form of meditation. Each choice, each action, a brushstroke in the painting of your authentic life. To begin, start setting internal goals. Not I must earn their admiration, but I will honor my creativity today. Not I must be seen as successful, but I will be true to my values today. Internal goals empower you. They remind you that you are the artist, not the audience. They free you from the endless race of comparison, allowing you to move steadily, joyfully, peacefully toward the life that belongs uniquely to you. The Buddha taught, your work is to discover your world and then with all your heart give yourself to it. Your life is not a performance for others. It is a sacred creation that only you can shape. Remember this, when you stop painting for the crowd and start painting for your soul, beauty returns. Build a strong, disciplined mind rooted in calm and positive thoughts, and live by the masterpiece within, not the applause without. Number 7, why your worth was never meant to be negotiated. Consider the elegance and dignity of a diamond. It doesn't haggle over its value at the market. It simply shines because it exists. Its worth is intrinsic, unshaken, and untouched by the bargaining voices that surround it. Yet, so many of us navigate life as if our worth is up for auction, constantly negotiating our value based on who accepts us, who praises us, who stays or leaves. But Buddhism reveals a deeper truth. Your existence alone is proof of your inherent worth. You do not have to earn your right to be here. You do not have to negotiate for the love, respect, or dignity that is already yours by virtue of being alive. Take a moment to reflect quietly and honestly. Where in your life are you still bargaining for your own worth? In a world obsessed with performance and validation, it's alarmingly easy to forget this fundamental truth. From a young age, society conditions us to believe that our value is tied to achievement, appearance, or likability. We are taught to hustle for approval, to shrink parts of ourselves to fit in, to wear masks designed to gain applause and avoid rejection. We measure our self-worth by external metrics, job titles, social media followers, possessions, and the opinions of others, rather than by the inherent dignity of our existence. But Buddhism offers a liberating alternative, the path of unconditional self-acceptance. Just as a mountain doesn't need to justify its height or a river its flow, you do not need to justify your existence or prove your worth. These natural wonders are valuable simply because they are. Similarly, your worth is not contingent on your achievements, your appearance, or how many people like or approve of you. It is not something that can be given or taken away by others. It is an intrinsic quality that resides within you, waiting to be recognized and embraced. When you internalize this truth, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of seeking external validation. You no longer have to live in fear of not being enough or of not measuring up to society's ever-changing standards. Instead, you can stand firm in the knowledge that you are already complete, already valuable, already worthy of love and respect. This doesn't mean you stop growing or aspiring to improve. It means you approach growth from a place of self-compassion and self-acceptance, rather than from a place of self-doubt and inadequacy. So, as you move through life, remember this: your worth was never meant to be negotiated. It is not a commodity to be traded in the marketplace of human opinion. It is an unshakable truth as constant and enduring as a diamond's brilliance. Release yourself from the burden of proving your worth to others. Embrace the freedom that comes with recognizing your intrinsic value, and let that recognition be the foundation upon which you build a life of authenticity, dignity, and profound peace. Imagine the freedom that awakens when you no longer place your worth in someone else's hands. When you stop asking, "Am I good enough for them?" and start affirming, "I am whole as I am." Imagine moving through life grounded like the earth itself, unchanged by the storms of opinion, unshaken by the changing tides of others' perceptions. Take a breath and ask yourself, what happens when you decide your value is unconditional? When you stop negotiating your worth, you reclaim your life. You stop over-explaining, over-apologizing, over-giving just to be seen. You realize that true love, true connection, true peace begins not when others finally approve, but when you approve of yourself. Buddhism teaches us that clinging to external validation only deepens suffering. It keeps you trapped in a cycle of craving and disappointment. True liberation comes when you recognize that your value has never been up for debate. It is eternal, untouchable, and whole. Begin this practice by noticing the moments when you are tempted to bargain with your soul. Notice when you seek permission to be yourself. In those moments, pause, return to your breath, return to your center. Remind yourself, I am already enough, not because of what I achieve, but because I exist. This mindset does not make you arrogant. It makes you authentic. It roots you deeply in the kind of inner peace that no praise or criticism can disturb. The Buddha said, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Your worth is not a project to complete, a race to win, or a prize to be awarded. It is your birthright. Remember this, you were never meant to be auctioned. You were meant to shine." Build a strong, disciplined mind rooted in calm and positive thoughts, and live each day as proof of your priceless existence. Number 8. Let go of the illusion of control. In the grand symphony of life, there's a subtle yet profound truth that often escapes our grasp: the illusion of control. You can try to hold the wind in your hand, but no matter how tightly you close your fist, it slips through your fingers. This is a perfect metaphor for the futility of trying to control how others see you, react to you, or feel about you. Buddhism teaches us that attachment to control is the birthplace of suffering. Yet, day after day, we exhaust ourselves sculpting images, curating words, and adjusting who we are, all in a desperate hope for the right reaction. But this pursuit comes at a cost that can weigh heavily on our mental and emotional well-being. Ask yourself quietly, what are you still trying to control that you need to surrender? Perhaps it's the need for constant approval, the fear of rejection, or the anxiety of being misunderstood. Maybe it's the pressure to curate a perfect image on social media or in your personal relationships. Whatever it is, this relentless effort to control others' perceptions can be draining and ultimately unfulfilling. The truth is, no amount of effort can guarantee that you will be liked, understood, or accepted by everyone. And that's not a flaw in you, it's simply the nature of existence. Imagine carrying a heavy bag everywhere you go, filled with everyone's opinions, judgments, and expectations. How far could you walk before you collapse under its weight? The burden of trying to control others' perceptions is like carrying that bag, a weight that can hold you back from living a free and authentic life. Buddhism offers a radical, freeing truth. You are responsible only for your own actions, not for the emotions, opinions, or stories others create about you. Their perception is their own wind. It cannot be contained, only observed. You cannot control how others interpret your words or actions, but you can control your intentions and the effort you put into being true to yourself. Letting go of the illusion of control doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. It means recognizing what is within your power and what isn't. It means focusing your energy on what you can influence, your own thoughts, actions, and responses, rather than wasting it on what you cannot. By doing so, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of trying to please everyone and gain their approval. So, take a moment to reflect. Identify the areas of your life where you're still clinging to the illusion of control. Recognize the futility of the struggle and the peace that comes from surrendering it. Embrace the freedom that comes with knowing that your worth is not defined by others' perceptions. Stand firm in your authenticity and let go of the need to control how others see you. In doing so, you'll discover a profound sense of liberation and peace, a peace that comes from within, rather than from the ever-changing winds of external validation. Picture a tree standing tall in the middle of a storm. It does not waste its strength trying to calm the wind. It simply roots itself deeper into the earth. Likewise, your peace lies not in changing others, but in anchoring yourself. Your inner world is yours alone to tend to. So, the next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, defend your choices, or mold yourself for approval, pause, breathe, trust that you are already enough without managing anyone else's story about you. Reflect on this. How much peace would you gain by trusting instead of grasping? Imagine waking up each day without the exhausting mission of controlling outcomes. Imagine speaking your truth not to convince, but simply to express. Imagine letting others walk their paths, even if their path leads them away from you. Buddhism calls this non-attachment, and it is not indifference. It is deep, profound love for yourself and for reality as it is. This shift is not about becoming careless. It's about becoming free, free to act from integrity rather than fear, free to love without demanding to be loved back, perfectly free to create without needing applause. When you release the illusion of control, you rediscover your own strength. You become like the mountain, unmoved by fleeting storms, or the river, flowing without apology. The Buddha said, "Let go or be dragged." And today you are invited to let go, not of dreams, not of kindness, not of hope, but of the chains that tie your peace to forces you can never command. You are here to live, to love, to grow, not to grasp desperately at shifting winds. Remember this, your power lies not in controlling, but in trusting yourself enough to let life flow. Build a strong, disciplined mind, rooted in calm and positive thoughts, and walk your path, free and unshaken. Number 9, anchor yourself in inner peace, not outer approval. In the heart of a murky pond, a lotus blooms, a symbol of serenity and resilience. Its beauty is not contingent upon the clarity of the water or the perfection of its surroundings. It simply remains true to itself, rooted in the mud yet unshaken by it. This elegant flower offers a profound lesson, one echoed in Buddhist teachings. Peace is not found in avoiding the storm, but in becoming still within it. How often do we find ourselves entangled in the illusion that peace can be achieved through external validation? We chase after the perfect relationship, the dream job, the approval of others, believing that once we attain these, we will finally feel content. Yet these external factors are like the shifting sands of a desert, unstable and ever-changing. They may bring temporary relief, but they cannot serve as the foundation for lasting peace. Take a moment to reflect quietly. Where are you still depending on outside conditions to feel peaceful? Are you waiting for that promotion to feel accomplished? For someone's approval to feel worthy? For life's circumstances to align perfectly before you allow yourself to be happy? This dependency is a fragile chain that binds us to the unpredictable whims of the external world. Buddhism teaches that true peace must be cultivated within. It is an internal garden that you tend to through mindfulness, self-compassion, and acceptance. The external world will always be chaotic. Storms will come and go, circumstances will shift, and people's opinions will change. But if you anchor yourself in inner peace, you become like the lotus, undisturbed by the turbulence around you. Imagine standing firm during a storm, not because the storm has ceased, but because your foundation is unshakable. This is the power of inner peace. It doesn't mean that you don't experience emotions or that you become indifferent to the world. It means that you develop a steady center from which you can navigate life's challenges with grace and equanimity. So, release yourself from the exhausting pursuit of external validation. Recognize that peace is not something you find out there. It is something you cultivate in here, within the depths of your own being. Begin each day with a moment of quiet reflection, connecting to your inner stillness. Practice mindfulness throughout your day, observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment. Cultivate self-compassion, treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. Remember, the lotus doesn't wait for the water to clear before it blooms. It doesn't seek approval from the fish or the frogs or the birds. It simply grows, rooted in its own truth, and offers its beauty to the world without expectation. In the same way, you can choose to anchor yourself in inner peace, regardless of the circumstances that surround you. In doing so, you discover a reservoir of calm that sustains you through life's inevitable storms. The wisdom of Buddhism offers us a path to liberation. Instead of waiting for the world to give us peace, we must anchor ourselves in it, no matter what chaos surrounds us. Your inner world, The way you choose to respond, the way you choose to remain calm, determines the peace you experience. You don't need to change the storm. You need to change your response to it. You can be like the lotus, thriving in the mud, rooted deeply in your own heart, unmoved by the turbulence outside. What would it be like if you could carry peace within you regardless of your surroundings? How can you practice carrying peace within you today? The key lies in cultivating a centered heart that doesn't need the world to approve of it. It's about finding stillness in your own presence, trusting that you are enough regardless of external conditions. The world may be chaotic, but you can still choose to remain calm. This practice doesn't mean avoiding challenges or denying emotions. It means you allow yourself to feel, but you don't let those feelings control you. You acknowledge the storm, but you don't let it uproot your peace. True strength comes when you don't need the world to change to find your balance. You find it within yourself. Each moment you choose to respond with calmness instead of reaction, you reinforce your inner peace. Every time you stop waiting for others to approve of you, you become more rooted in your true self. This is the essence of living for yourself. You are no longer dependent on others for validation or peace. You carry your peace wherever you go, letting it be the anchor that holds you steady through life's storms. So today, practice this. Stop looking outside for your peace and turn inward. You are your own sanctuary, your own source of calm, and in that calm, you will find the freedom to truly live for yourself. Number 10. Detach from the performance of life. In the quiet corners of existence, a flickering flame illuminates a dark room. It doesn't strive to put on a show. It simply burns, casting light in every direction without seeking applause or acknowledgement. It doesn't fret over perfection or perception. It is simply what it is. This is the essence of life in its purest form. When you detach from the performance of life, you begin to understand that your true self is not defined by the roles you play or the masks you wear. All too often we find ourselves trapped in the illusion that life is a stage, and we are mere actors performing for an audience of peers, colleagues, and followers. We craft personas designed to meet expectations, to gain approval, and to avoid the sting of judgment. We become so engrossed in this performance that we lose touch with our authentic selves. But here's the profound truth. Your life is not a stage, and you are not a character. You are the flame, authentic, present, and powerful, radiating light simply by being. Take a moment to reflect. How often do you find yourself performing in life? Perhaps at work, where you adopt a professional persona to fit in or climb the ladder. In relationships, where you might withhold parts of yourself to maintain harmony, or on social media, where you curate highlights to project an idealized version of your life. These performances are exhausting, and they create a chasm between who you truly are and who you present to the world. But there's another way, a way of being that frees you from the tyranny of performance. The greatest gift you can offer the world is not a polished act, but your unvarnished authenticity. When you show up as your real self, unpolished, raw, and imperfect, you open the door to genuine connections and profound freedom. You stop wasting energy on maintaining illusions and instead channel that energy into living with integrity and presence. Detaching from the performance of life doesn't mean becoming indifferent or lazy. It means recognizing that your worth isn't tied to the roles you play or the approval you receive. It means embracing the beauty of imperfection and understanding that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a strength. It means living like the flame, simply being, without the need for validation or applause. So release yourself from the pressure to perform. Let go of the masks and the personas. Be the flame that burns brightly, not for the sake of an audience, but because that is your true nature. In doing so, you'll discover a sense of peace and authenticity that no performance could ever provide. Ask yourself, Where are you performing rather than being real? Are you putting on a smile that doesn't reflect your inner feelings? Are you pretending to be confident when you feel uncertain? Are you sacrificing your own authenticity to fit into someone else's version of success or happiness? The weight of these performances can be exhausting. It's a constant effort to maintain an image, to keep up appearances, and to be something you're not. But in doing so, you miss the most important part of life, just being yourself. Buddhism teaches us that the root of suffering is attachment to external validation, to approval, to the need for recognition. When you live for the applause of others, you create an illusion of self-worth that is fragile and fleeting. You may receive praise one moment and criticism the next, leaving you on an emotional roller coaster. But when you release the need to perform, you step into a state of freedom. You no longer depend on the shifting winds of external validation to feel good about yourself. Imagine what your life would feel like if you didn't have to act for applause anymore. What if you could simply exist, showing up exactly as you are without worrying about what others think? This doesn't mean you stop caring about others or lose the desire to grow. It means you let go of the constant need to prove yourself. You allow yourself to be human, flawed, messy, and beautiful. You trust that your true self, not the mask you wear, is enough. Let go of the exhausting need to perform. Embrace the peace that comes from simply being. The world doesn't need more versions of someone else's idea of success. It needs you, the real you. Show up as yourself without apologies or pretenses. That is where your greatest power lies. The more you release the performance, the more you'll experience true freedom, peace, and the power of living for yourself. You are the flame. Let it burn brightly and authentically. Number 11. Compassion begins with yourself. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast desert, parched and weary. You have a deep desire to help others cross this arid landscape, offering them water, comfort, and relief. But there's a problem. Your own jug is empty. How can you give to others when you haven't first taken care of your own needs? This powerful analogy reveals a profound truth. Compassion begins with yourself. You cannot pour healing waters from an empty jug. You cannot offer peace to others without first making peace within yourself. Many of us have been conditioned to prioritize giving, to care for others, and be there for everyone else. We rush to offer kindness, support, and understanding to those around us, all while neglecting the deep well of kindness that we owe ourselves. We wear ourselves out, running on empty, until there's nothing left to give. But here's the paradox. The less we care for ourselves, the less we are able to care for others. If you're constantly drained and depleted, your well of compassion runs dry, leaving you with nothing to offer those who need it most. So, how can we break this cycle? The answer lies in self-compassion. The best way to extend love, care, and peace to others is by first showing that same love, care, and peace to yourself. When was the last time you treated yourself with the same tenderness you offer to others? If a friend came to you with a broken heart, you would listen with patience, offer comfort, and gently encourage them to heal. But when was the last time you extended that same grace to your own wounds? How often do you forgive yourself when you fall short? When do you show yourself the same compassion that you so freely give to others? Buddhism teaches that true compassion is not a one-way street. It doesn't begin with others. It starts with you. Self-compassion is the root from which all other compassion grows. If you fail to nurture yourself, you will find yourself unable to nurture the world around you. You cannot give what you do not possess. So take a moment to reflect. How do you care for yourself? Do you make time for rest, for self-care, for healing? Do you speak to yourself with kindness, or do you criticize and judge yourself harshly? Remember that holding your own pain tenderly, without judgment or criticism, creates space for healing, not just within your own heart, but for the hearts of those you encounter. The journey of compassion begins with a single step, caring for yourself. When you fill your own jug, you become a wellspring of compassion, ready to share your abundance with others. You become like a lush oasis in the desert, offering relief and support to all who come your way. So start today. Begin with yourself. Give yourself the gift of compassion and watch how it transforms not only your life, but the lives of everyone around you. Imagine what could happen if you practiced self-compassion every day. What would it feel like to accept your flaws, your mistakes, and your imperfections with kindness instead of self-criticism? What would change in your life if you forgave yourself truly and fully for the wounds you've carried for so long? The key to peace inside and out lies in your ability to be compassionate with yourself. It's in letting go of self-judgment and embracing your humanity with grace. So ask yourself, what wounds inside me are still waiting for my own forgiveness? What parts of myself do I need to nurture before I can fully offer love and healing to others? Self-compassion is not selfish. It is the most profound way to serve the world. When you fill your own cup with kindness, you naturally overflow with love for others. Begin with yourself and let that compassion ripple out, touching everything and everyone in your life. You are worthy of your own love, and the world will be better for it. Bonus lessons. Create your own path fearlessly. Picture a river winding through jagged mountains, cutting its own path through the rock with persistence, not force. It doesn't seek permission, nor does it look for approval. It simply flows, carving its way through the obstacles in front of it. This is how you must live your life. The path to your true self isn't one that someone else has already walked. It is a road that you must carve out for yourself, step by step. The journey to yourself is the highest pilgrimage. In a world filled with expectations, pressures, and predefined paths, it's easy to feel lost, overwhelmed, and even unfulfilled. Society tells us what success looks like, how to behave, and what we should want. But what if all of that is simply noise? What if the real success is living a life that feels true to your heart, even if no one else understands it? The road to your own truth is not a freeway. It's a winding, unpredictable journey. It requires patience, courage, and the willingness to take the first small step into the unknown. Are you following a path designed for someone else? If you've been chasing someone else's idea of success, whether it's the perfect career, the right relationship, or the external validation of others, then you're walking a road that was never meant for you. It's not your path, it's someone else's. And no matter how much you try to follow it, you will never feel fully satisfied because it doesn't honor who you are at your core. The good news is, you don't need to follow the herd. You don't need to adhere to society's expectations. You are not bound by the roles and labels that others place on you. The path to freedom begins when you start creating your own way. Think of the river. Each drop of water moves at its own pace, guided not by the land around it, but by its own flow. It's not about force, it's about persistence. It's not about rushing to the destination, it's about being true to your journey. You must carve your own path with patience and heart. What would it feel like to stop worrying about what others think and instead focus on what you truly want? Imagine stepping off the beaten path, trusting that each step, no matter how small, is a step towards something that feels authentic to you. This is your journey. No one else can walk it for you. Start with one small step today. It might be a decision as simple as saying no to something that doesn't align with your values or choosing a new direction that feels more true to you. It doesn't matter how small the step is. What matters is that it's your step, and it's a step toward a life that honors your true self. Are you ready to stop living for others and start living for yourself? Carve your path, persist through the obstacles, and trust that the journey you're on is the highest pilgrimage you can take. Quick summary of the principles. 1. Why living for others will always fail you. Living to please others traps you in a cycle of endless dissatisfaction. True fulfillment comes only when you live in alignment with your own values and inner truth, regardless of external approval. 2. When pleasing others becomes self-betrayal. Constantly adjusting yourself to win others' acceptance leads you away from your authentic self. Honoring your own needs is not selfish. It's essential for a life of integrity and peace. 3. Allow others to dislike you. Freedom begins the moment you allow others to form their own opinions about you without feeling responsible for their reactions. You cannot live fully if you are enslaved by the fear of judgment. 4. When you stop needing validation, when your self-worth no longer depends on others' praise or recognition, you unlock a deep sense of freedom. You become powerful when your inner approval is more important than external applause. 5. Why living for yourself isn't selfish. Prioritizing your growth, well-being, and peace is the foundation for truly helping others. Only by living fully for yourself can you overflow with authentic love and wisdom. 6. When you focus on your own standards, stop measuring your success by societal trends or external achievements. Live according to your personal values, dreams, and progress, and you'll experience genuine contentment and mastery. 7. Why your worth was never meant to be negotiated. Your value is innate and absolute, not something that fluctuates based on opinions, achievements, or failures. Recognizing your inherent worth sets you free from endless striving and self-doubt. 8. Let go of the illusion of control. Trying to control others' perceptions and outcomes only leads to suffering. Peace blossoms when you release attachment and trust the flow of life instead of fighting against it. 9. Anchor yourself in inner peace, not outer approval. Lasting peace doesn't come from a perfect environment, but from cultivating a stable, calm mind. True serenity arises when you learn to remain centered even amid chaos and uncertainty. 10. Detach from the performance of life. You are not here to perform for acceptance or applause. You are here to live, love, and express your truth without filtering or masking yourself to fit societal expectations. 11. Compassion begins with yourself. You must first show deep kindness and forgiveness toward yourself before you can authentically extend it to others. Healing yourself is the beginning of healing your world. 12. Create your own path fearlessly. You are not meant to walk someone else's journey. Embrace the courage to forge your own path, trusting that every small, authentic step is a powerful act of freedom and self-respect. In a world that constantly bombards us with noise, expectations, and endless distractions, the most courageous and transformative act we can commit to is living authentically for ourselves. To stand unwavering in our truth, even as the world clamors for conformity, is not just rebellion, but a profound act of self-love and liberation. Freedom is not achieved by bending to please everyone. It is found in the quiet, powerful act of listening to and honoring the deepest whispers of your soul. There is a seismic strength in recognizing that you owe no one your silence, your obedience, or your smallness. These are not debts you were born with, nor are they dues you must pay to be accepted. Every step you take toward self-trust and authenticity is an act of rebellion against the invisible chains of judgment and fear that have bound you for far too long. Your life was never meant to be a watered-down compromise of who you could be. It was meant to be a blazing, unapologetic expression of your true self, a self that is raw, vibrant, and unfiltered. When the mind is freed from the prisons of doubt and external validation, the path forward becomes disarmingly clear. The journey we're called to isn't about chasing fleeting validation or proving our worth through the eyes of others. It's about shedding the illusions that have long obscured our vision, illusions of control, perfection, and the need for approval. These are the ghosts that haunt our steps and dim our light. True peace emerges when you become unshakable in your presence, when you live with an unflinching authenticity that refuses to bow to the expectations of others. Today, make the choice to prioritize yourself. Choose the path that ignites your spirit, the one that fills you with purpose and passion, not the path that merely wins you applause or avoids discomfort. Choose the voice that resonates from within, the one that speaks your truth, over the cacophony of external noise that seeks to drown it out. You are the architect, the artist of your existence. You hold the brush and the canvas. Paint a life that feels deeply, courageously, and brilliantly your own, a life that reflects the unique beauty of your soul. If these words have resonated with you, if they've sparked something within, don't forget to like and share this message. Let it ripple out into the world and touch others who are also seeking their way. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd be honored to hear your voice. And if you're ready to embrace more wisdom on living a life of peace and power, together, let's continue to shed light on the path to authenticity and freedom.